Yesterday, I was planning to make a response video about Trump creating the United States Space Corps, or Space Force, or whatever you like to call it, and maybe see what are the repercussions and consequences of Donald Trump actually proposing this to the Pentagon, and even to the Congress of the United States. But no, I got some more news relating to just basically the immigration issue that Donald Trump has been facing since the beginning, I think, either this week or the last week. Back on Thursday, Trump did what the media said he couldn't do. He basically said that separation of families will no longer be allowed, and he did it through executive order, something that he obviously can do. But personally, I honestly didn't think that this really did much of anything, because well, for one, while this does may give in to the left's ideas of keeping the parents and the children together, it doesn't really do anything of that sort. In fact, actually, I think this was just a more symbolic message that Trump is willing to try to look into what the problems that we have in terms of illegal immigration, not just to build the wall and to stop illegal immigration and to deport them, but also to try to figure out the issues relating to the separation of the kids from their parents. But again, this is just simply a message. I didn't think it really changed anything, and it shouldn't have anyway. But the left is obviously not pleased about this, because, well, although the children are no longer separated from their parents, they now have to be alongside with their parents in terms of like jail time or something, or well, at least that's in the mind of the leftists and the leftist media. And they say that this executive order is not enough. In fact, they say the president should have gone further by releasing the parents. That includes just looking away, letting the border patrol just look away, and letting them out of the judicial system we have here in the United States. Who is stupid enough to believe that? Are you just simply going to allow these illegal immigrants to roam free as if they didn't break any laws, despite the fact that they did? Are you even caring about the children? In fact, now that I think about it, I think that this executive order is actually just a response to try to expose the left for the hypocrisy it does. Or well, this isn't really hypocrisy. It's more like they're just using illegal immigrants and their children for their own personal means. In the case of the left, they basically have this idea of open borders, not allowing ICE to continually exist, and definitely against the border patrol. No, I'm not saying that all leftists or liberals are like that. Absolutely not. But there's that big faction that basically says that they hate ICE and they hate checking borders and that sort of thing. But it's completely obvious that the media, when they say that President Trump hasn't done enough and they want the parents to be freed as well, this obviously proves that the media only cares about open borders, and to further push their own political agenda, as well as the leftist politicians that are currently in power. So That is basically the extent of what's going on. I think this is definitely a message, and it's only further proving Donald Trump's point in why we should build a wall, not just to deport illegal immigrants, but entirely build a wall. I always bring this up in my head to describe the situation of illegal immigration in the United States. America is like a boat, and the sea surrounding it is immigration. Illegal immigration. If you do not find a way to plug the holes in your ship, then the water will just come spilling in, and eventually that boat will sink. That is the exact same situation that America is facing with illegal immigration. 110%. That's what America is dealing with. America is the boat, and illegal immigrants are the sea, trying to get into the boat. Now, this has gotten pretty worse as of lately, because there was this New York University professor. I forget what his name was, and I forgot what university he came from. I'm not sure that he's from New York University, so take that with a grain of salt. But he basically released all information relating to employees of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. At least over 1,200 employees. He released their information, their addresses. I'm not even sure if he released their phone numbers as well, but I wouldn't be surprised about that. And now, I hear Antifa is actually copying these. Antifa, the same terrorist or leftist organization that continually harasses Trump supporters and commits violence. Of course, like in Berkeley just 3 times before, and a few small times ever since then. It's still been like that, but this is the first time that I have seen Antifa actually be more on a big scale since November the 4th. So, all of this is completely scary, and I think this is just further destroying the left's argument on the idea of open borders. I mean, first they go with this idea of think of the children, and now they're going into harassment mode. They're going into to harass ICE employees. Now, I know what the professor said about this is over freedom of speech, but here's the problem with that. We're talking about the employees of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Private information. Private individual information. That means where they live, probably what's their birthday, and when they were born. And that sort of thing is private information. That, unless you are willing to give that away, which personally I would not. It's like telling everyone right here the exact address where I am living in. It's just that would be just completely stupid, because that would invite harassment, violence, and other violations of privacy. But no, this guy completely does not look into that. In fact, he just releases the information as if it were nothing. But I'm pretty sure this is going to have big repercussions on Antifa and this professor, because it's openly suggesting political violence on the federal organization. Apparently, you can attack Trump supporters, but when you attack a federal government, that's when they get freaking pissed. Now, I'm just kidding about that part where they are allowed to get Trump supporters. I've seen actually many police officers trying to separate Antifa and Trump rallies, but that's besides the point. The fact that Antifa is willing to go after members of a federal organization is actually giving them a bigger notice and a bigger eye from them, from the federal government itself. It definitely is going to be like that. And I think it's actually, all of this is actually undermining the less argument. Remember Peter Fonda? He actually tweeted this week about so many awful things, like ripping Barron Trump away from his mother and throwing him in a cage of pedophiles, and actually asking millions of Americans to go out on the street this weekend to protest and maybe even incite other violence and even encourage the harassment. Now, he did apologize for that, or well, take it back, apologized. But I don't believe that. I think it was only because he was already targeted by the FBI because of the obvious threats made by a child of the President of the United States. That is what I think is why he basically said, I apologize for what I said. I don't trust him. Especially the fact that he's the brother of Hanoi Jane, the traitor. That I do not trust either of those two. But I'm getting besides the point. This is only proving that the left cannot build a substantial argument, especially in the case of immigration. Trump is already proving the point about building a wall. Trump has already made the suggestions about trying to work with the Democrats on other forms of immigration, like maybe DACA with some certain conditions, like maybe no separation of a parent or a supposed parent from their children. And yet the left does not. They don't care. The media doesn't care. The Democrats don't care, and many leftists don't care. That is all that's going on. And it's going so far as to allow harassment, including to federal employees. All of this is just going to bite them in the ass. It's going to bite them in the ass right now, and in the present day, about the immigration issue, and it's going to bite them in the ass for many years to come. Because this is the image of the left in the United States right now. My name is Noah Mia, now the Arc of Truth. Please comment down below. I will really love to hear many of your comments on what you think about this video. I would love it if you like and share this with other friends of yours. And finally, I would love it if you subscribe.